Good morning, good afternoon, good wherever you are. We're going to take a look at our first for realsies digital painting. No more bland shapes. We're going to paint an apple. Why an apple? Because it's an easy place to start, and it has lots of different color values that you're going to be able to use in blending, and just enough tiny details that you can learn how to get real close up in there and create textures from a distance, but simple enough that it's not intimidating. So the first thing I did was I opened the reference image, which is this, in Photoshop because I'm going to be using the eyedropper a lot to sample colors. If I drag my mouse through here, you can see my color picker is changing to all kinds of different colors. It's not just straight up red. It's red, it's orange, it's yellow, it's brownish red. A lot of different shades going on in there. Before I do anything else, I'm going to make a new layer over my background. So I have that nice clean white underneath. And I'm actually going to start with a hard brush. Your paintbrush is over here. And your size controls are up here. Or you can use the bracket tools. Right bracket makes it bigger. If you're typing in it, it won't do anything. Yes, I'm aware. Command C. There we go. Bracket tool makes it bigger. Left bracket makes it smaller. And I'm going to start pretty large. And I want to pick a mid-tone color, something in the middle, not too dark, not too light. It's going to be the main blocking color for my apple. And I want to make sure I position it pretty close to how it's positioned on there so I have room for the shadow. You can always zoom in. So I'm going to start and just block in that color. I'm going for kind of like a round squash shape. I don't want to make it too narrow. I can always come in and clean up with the eraser. It's not perfectly round, so I'm going to come in kind of like this. Bring this side out this way. Switch to my eraser. If you're using a hard brush, use a hard eraser. Clean that up a little bit. Looks like I left my opacity on 83. So I'm going to fix that and just trim some of that so I get more of the shape I want. I could also take a shortcut. This is really nice for doing circles, guys. We've backed up. I've backed up so far I deleted my layer. The other thing I can do is I can really crank my brush size and just make a lovely perfect circle. It's kind of close to what I want. And then come in and trim, which is pretty darn close to what I wanted. Good job, Photoshop. And again, the devil is in the little details. Apples are not perfectly round, they're kind of bumpy. I'm focusing on this section over here. So I'm going to trim that just a touch. And then we'll go in and get things like this divot later. Next, I need to think about my highlights and shadows. I'm going to start blocking in large bits of color, like here and here. And I showed you in, whoops, too far. I showed you in the ball video how to lock your transparent pixels. It's really nice for making sure you get your shading on the correct object and you can save some cleanup later. So I just locked my transparent pixels. That means anything on this layer that didn't already have paint on it is not going to receive any paint. And I'm going to come in now with my color picker and we're going to block in, I think, this orange. I'm going to switch to a soft brush because we're focusing on shading and values, not just blocking in mains. I'm going to come in here and depending on where I am visually, I can change up the opacity. See how that's not going to show anything anywhere? And it's going to look different based on where you are on top of another color. So I'm going to just come in. I think I came down a little too far because if I'm using my eyes, there's kind of a bright crimson red here and the orange kind of comes down here. There's a very defining line that I'm looking at. Come over here and add that in. And I can always come in with blending tools to help with that. So let's sample a new color. Let's go to that really bright red. We're just going to pump that up. See how that's slightly lighter than the main one you started with? I can switch what type of brush I'm looking at. For the most part, I want you guys to fuss with soft round, but I want you to know there are other settings. Soft round pressure opacity just means the harder you press on it, the darker it's going to be, the more tender you are with your touch, the lighter it's going to be. And it functions on a very same level, but similar level, sorry. But in my humble opinion, it makes things a little bit easier because it functions like a real pen or pencil. That way you can get different values that way. So I'm also going to come over and pull some of my dark sides and show you how we'll blend some of that. But we'll get to that in the next video.